Hey there, let's continue our Agile series, and today we're going to talk about Scrum. Welcome back to my Project Management Sandbox. This is Chris, and here we talk about project management in tech. Let's get straight to business. Out of all Agile frameworks, Scrum is the most structured one. And this is why some teams love it and some teams really struggle with it. Scrum works best when you need clarity, rhythm, and focus. Especially in environments where work could be planned in smaller cycles or increments, but the uncertainty still exists. Moving forward, we are going to split it into 2 episodes. Today, before diving into the roles and ceremonies, we will focus on the foundations, the values, the artifacts, and the sprints themselves. And in the next one, we will dive into the roles, responsibilities, and collaboration in the team. Scrum is built on 5 values: commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage. What do they mean? They are not just words on paper, they explain how Scrum actually works and how to apply it in practice. For example, commitment doesn't mean we promise everything. It means the commitment to the shared goal. Focus means limiting work in progress and not multitasking across 1,000 things. Openness is about transparency, especially when things don't go as they planned. It's really important to be transparent about what's going on and what's happening. It helps to prevent bottlenecks, facilitate tasks transition, and reduce the dependencies. Respect is acknowledgement that people who are closest to work understand it best. No one is capable of knowing everything. That's why we have subject matter experts who we are consulting to in order to figure out the best solution together. And we trust their knowledge. Courage shows up when team members say something is not working or we need to apply some changes. And it's super important to talk about it openly and timely to prevent waste. If those values are missing, Scrum easily turn into the mechanical set of meetings and it will lose its real meaning. Let's move on to Scrum artifacts. These are the things that make the work visible. And there are actually 3 core artifacts that we need to make sure we include into the framework. These are product backlog, sprint backlog, and the increment. The product backlog is the ordered list of everything we need to produce in order to create the product itself. Keep in mind, this is not a contract, this is not a fixed plan. This is the list of things we agreed that we need in order to create the product that we had in mind when we started the project. Now, the cool thing about the backlog is that it evolves. It evolves continuously throughout the whole development process. Why this happens? Mostly because during the delivery, we might figure out that we can do things differently and we can get a better result. That's why we need to be open-minded and we need to welcome change as in all Agile frameworks. The second one is the sprint backlog. This is the subset of work the team selects for the particular sprint and the plan on how to deliver it. And the sprint backlog is something that the team agrees on. It's owned by the team and it's not assigned from the outside. How it happens? The team knows what's in the product backlog. They know the priorities and that's why they can see how much they can commit to within the given sprint. And the third artifact is the increment. The increment is the outcome of the sprint, and it must be usable if it's not released yet. In other words, when the team selects the scope for the sprint, they need to keep in mind that when they finish the sprint, there should be a complete piece of work that in theory could be given away to the users or to the customers. It should be functional and it should be usable. Altogether, these 3 artifacts support the transparency and they allow everyone to see what we want, what we are working on now, and what we have actually built. But what is the sprint itself? Sprint is the fixed time box. Usually it's 1 to 4 weeks, but the most common duration is 2 weeks for the sprint, during which the team works towards the sprint goal. And that is the scope of work that the team has extracted from the product backlog and commit to deliver within the sprint. So based on this scope, the team is setting the sprint goal, meaning that they commit to deliver the certain increment by the end of the sprint. And what's also important is that sprint is not a container of tasks. It is a learning cycle. During the sprint, the scope can be clarified, assumptions can be challenged, and the priorities might shift slightly. But the sprint goal should stay stable. That stability is what allows teams to keep the focus. And at a high level, Scrum follows a simple life cycle. We look at the product backlog, we select the scope that we want to deliver within the particular sprint, we build and test during the sprint, and we produce the increment that could be delivered to the end users. Besides, we inspect and adapt during the sprint, and then we start again. And remember that each sprint is an opportunity to learn, not just about the product, but also about the way we work, and figure out how we can do things better. How artifacts fit into the sprint lifecycle. Here is where Scrum starts to make sense as a system. Product backlog connects the long-term vision with the short-term work. Sprint backlog creates the focus for the particular cycle, and the increment provides the evidence of progress. And there is nothing accidental. Each artifact exists in order to reduce ambiguity, improve communication, and create shared understanding. If you remove one of them or treat it lightly, the system will become really noisy. To recap on what project noise is, make sure to check out this episode. Okay, in the next episodes we will talk about the roles, the ceremonies, who's responsible for what, and how it's all tied to get sprint practice. Thanks for watching and see you soon. Cheers!